So, Gator, Sebastian Cossa is coming up, huh?
Seabass.
Yep. You have been calling for this for a while. It's interesting that they haven't made this move. And I guess the reason they haven't made the move is because they got a goalie playing as well as anybody in the NHL.
Yeah.
So what's the use in bringing up your young netminder to stand there on the bench?
Well, I think the point is that they're unsure about or they just want to take precautions with Gibson.
Oh, I know what they're doing now.
With that.
I'm talking about the months leading up to this, why they didn't call him up.
I don't know. Well, because they had two veteran goaltenders. And if you're going to bring up the rookie, it's like conceding that you're getting rid of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that was the case. The first part of the season was hit or miss with the goaltending. He wasn't very consistent. And then all of a sudden, Gibson's found his way. And he's been outstanding for the last 2.5 months or whatever it is. Maybe the best goaltender in hockey over the last 2.5 months. And that's been great. And to have the backup being a seasoned veteran like Cam Talbot, you feel pretty good about that too. Even though Talbot hasn't played great, he played well the other night in relief. He played well enough to keep the team in the game, and they were able to win the game. But bringing Cossa up now, obviously for the precaution, I'd like to see him get a chance to play if you're going to bring him up. And I was hoping that he was going to get the starting nod tonight. I understand why he's not, but it's just me personally. I want to see the guy play. And if you get to Friday night and you're still not ready to go with Gibson, why not give Cossa a chance?
Well, look, I think I wouldn't play him tonight. And the reason I wouldn't play him tonight is I don't want to give any reason for the general manager to be hesitant about thinking that this team can compete. And in the past, he's cited that the play did not dictate that they were going to add to the roster. They aren't like some team that is dominant, as we all know, but they're also a team that is closer to first place in the conference than they are. Well, now they're even. Columbus got a point last night, so they're 6 points from being out of the playoffs, but also 6 points from being the 1 seed. Okay? What that tells you is that it's anybody's conference. Anybody can win this thing. And one of the assets that they have is a goalie that can get white hot. It screams of a roster that could use an addition or two. And, I don't know that one game will make any difference, but I don't want to lose this game to Vegas tonight. And so whoever gives you the best chance to win it is probably the veteran.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying I'm not terribly upset with that. That Cossa's up and he's not going to play tonight. I'm fine with it. The timing with the trade deadline right around the corner, I get all that. Mm-hmm. You got Vegas tonight, who's coming off back-to-back. This will be the second game of back-to-back nights. They lost last night in Buffalo, 3-2. It's an opportunity for the Red Wings to just take advantage of it, right? Vegas is they're a good hockey team, not a great hockey team. Take advantage of this situation and prove to everybody that you're ready to take this next leap, which is not just make the playoffs, but do something in the playoffs. If they added two pieces, let's just say for the sake of we'll throw names to it. They add Trocheck and they add Ristolainen.
Mm-hmm.
So you Trocheck from the Rangers, a forward, a great two-way forward, two-way center. And then you had the right-hand defenseman in Ristolainen, who plays on the mean streak to him, and that ends up being probably a top 4 defenseman. You add those two pieces to this team, I feel like you've absolutely increased how good your defensive capabilities are in any given game. Because Trocheck is so good defensively as a forward, and then Ristolainen is more of a defensive defenseman anyway. You're really kind of hammering home how important that is. And at the same time, Trocheck provides offense as well.
Yeah.
Now, he's not a goal-a-game guy or a point-a-game guy, but he's still pretty good.
I would love to add Trocheck.
If they added both of those players, I'd be absolutely thrilled if they could do that. And they can. The question is, what's the pain going to be going the other way in these deals? Because there's going to be some pain. Some players have been dealt in the last week. A big forward was dealt who plays a little bit of a mean streak, but he's not a great forward, and he went for, a second-round pick? So I'm a little concerned with how high the price is going to be. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're not getting. It doesn't seem like the Red Wings want the rental player, right? Like Eisenman's always talked about term and stuff like that. Well, some of these guys have a couple years left on their deals at reasonable prices that aren't going to break the bank and prevent you from getting a free agent in the offseason after next year. So I like the moves that are possible there, but I'm also prepared that you're going to probably end up losing at least a first-round pick, maybe a couple first-round picks and a player.
So I saw something from a Red Wing blogger that went around last night, and when I first saw it, I thought it was an actual trade. And I was, and it was Brock Seguin had this, and so, but I got fooled briefly, right? And I thought it was an actual trade.
Is it Niskanen?
No, it was Robert Thomas to Detroit for a 2028 first-round pick, a 2029 first-round pick, Nate Danielson, Carter Mazur, and William Wallander.
That's a lot.
And this is the example of when people say you got to make a trade when you put that price tag on it. Now it's a 2028 first-round pick.
Right, it's not.
And a 2029 first-round pick, which are down the road. But that is a hefty price.
And Nate Danielson.
And Nate Danielson and Carter Mazur.
Carter Mazur too, who hasn't played, but he's because he's
Brock,
been
you fooled me for a second, and because I thought I didn't read it because it was on me,
But at least it's
I'd had too much water at that point.
Well, other story.
Yeah.
But at least that's something that puts in perspective how you got to actually give something to get something, right?
Yep.
And Robert Thomas is a really good, promising younger player, signed for many years after this year at
plus
like
player on a bad team. He's not a 50-goal scorer, gotcha, but he's a plus player on a bad team.
But he's a guy who has been a point-a-game guy, and he's only 26 years old, 26, 27 years old. So, okay, I like him. But that's the cost. 2 first-round picks, Nate Danielson and Carter Mazur, and William Wallander. Now, you're not using Wallander, so it's a throw-in.
Yeah.
Carter Mazur you haven't seen. He played 1 shift with the Red Wings last year and got hurt and hasn't really played this year either. Although you like a lot that he has to offer, but he hasn't played. And Nate Danielson, who is a defensive-minded forward more than anything else, that's the cost.
Dude, it's one of those deals where I think a lot of people from Detroit would say, no, I'm not giving up all of that. But if that's the cost and the costs are like that, do you end up standing pat? And then we start the whole cycle again of, I can't believe they didn't make a move. And, that's where it gets really difficult because the people in charge, obviously they know their sport. The question is, are they aggressive enough? Are they wired to take chances? Like these are, and so when hockey people say no to that kind of price tag, you go, well, they're probably right. That feels like too much to me.
It does, and yet I feel like that's may end up being close to what you have to offer to get Robert Thomas. Now, St. Louis doesn't have to trade him.
No.
He's 20, like I said, he's 26 or 27 years old. They've got him signed. It's a reasonable contract, and they don't need to. But St. Louis is having such a bad year. They're looking to move on from some things. Now, if I were the Red Wings, I would come back and say, okay, that's a lot. Throw in Falk, and we can talk about what else you need to make it happen, the defenseman. And then it's one-stop shopping, which would be one hell of a one-stop shop if you got both of them.
In the meantime, at this hour, the Red Wings have tweeted out, per Coach McClellan, John Gibson skated today and is feeling better, but not ready for this game, listed officially as day-to-day. 248-539-9797. Red Wing fans, you want to keep having this discussion. And I tell you what, he refuses to let us not talk about him.
This guy.
Right? We'll get to that today at 11:46 on 97.1.